love having you here, and it's our mission to bring you all the latest and greatest tips, skills, and know-how to make you the best that you can be. We know that you have it in you, and we're going to show you how. Now, let's get started.
Hello and welcome to Step Up to Live. I'm Alec Dorling, and if you're starting out with live video or live streaming, then Step Up to Live is the show for you. Want to get noticed on LinkedIn? Then you'll need to have a standout profile. And today we have Melanie Goodman in the house today. Melanie is one of the best go-to LinkedIn experts I know for in personal and company profiles to increase visibility. Melanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Alec. It's really lovely to be here.
Yeah. So I watch you quite a lot. A lot of your posts are really, really professional, and I really love watching things. But I think your background is a lawyer. How did you transition to supporting customers on LinkedIn in the space?
It is. My original background, it was actually a real estate finance lawyer, but we're going back a long time. I, just as a bit of background, I lived in Switzerland for 16 years. And when I arrived there, there wasn't much call for British property lawyers. So I did work for a law firm, but I started doing their business development and leveraging LinkedIn for them. And I was a director there for 8 years. And then they were actually a Panamanian law firm. And after the Panama Papers, they moved out of Europe. They moved out of Europe completely. So they pulled out of London and Switzerland. And hence I decided to found my own business, Trevorzan, and we do LinkedIn marketing and training for everybody, but predominantly a lot of our clients are in finance and law, basically because of my own background. But that's how I made the transition from law into marketing about 10 years ago.
Great. Good to know the background. But today we're going to look at LinkedIn profile, what makes a good profile and what doesn't. And we have a couple of volunteer streamers profiles. We have Rush Johns and Steve Healy, who will be looking at together with yours, I think, flipping between the two to see what are the elements of a good profile and what are two key streamers got in their profile? Are they on the right track? Room for improvement? Let's go.
Great. There's always room for improvement. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, a bit of hands-on today.
So can you just confirm that everyone can see my screen? And we can now see Stephen Healy's profile.
We can indeed, yes.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So you want your profile to stand out above all your competitors. And the way to do this is basically to work your way systematically through your profile, what's called, without getting too technical, search engine optimizing them. Because we've got obviously a limited amount of time today, I'm just going to go through these couple of profiles and pick out the main ways in which they could, dare I say, be improved, and because basically greater visibility creates more opportunities for people. So you really want to make sure that you come up highest in searches. I'm going to go through some of the sort of do's and don'ts and how you can improve your profile. So let's start with Stephen's. Now, I think that the thing that I think stands out the most is the fact that quite unusually, Stephen has put his name all in lowercase, which is obviously quite unusual because normally you would always put a capital letter. Now, I would certainly advise that he changes this and puts a capital letter. But the reason that he might be doing it is it could be that sometimes when people are using automated systems to send invitations, if he gets one that says dear Stephen or dear Stephen Healy, all in lowercase, he'll basically know that that's automated because no one would naturally write in lowercase. So, but that's the only use case that I can think of. You should always keep your name as your name, and you might see people on LinkedIn with emojis or stars or whatever.
I think that's not allowed according to the rule book.
Exactly. It's actually against the LinkedIn T's and C's, and you really don't want to risk. They will literally just take your profile down overnight. So you really, or if someone reports you, so you don't want to do that. I mean, I've seen people, using their name as a descriptor. So then they might write Stephen Healy live video training in their name, but that's not what you want to do. That's not what that area is used for. That's what your heading is for. So
let's move on to the
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the heading. So this is this area. The headline is where it says Stephen works for Be Live as a content creator. Now, this should be written in the first person because Stephen is putting his profile across, and you want to build a rapport with the people that are viewing your profile. And this already sort of sends out signals that maybe he hasn't written it himself, or he's already creating a sort of barrier between him and his ideal audience. Because you're always thinking whenever you set up your profile, and you're always thinking about who you want to find your profile and read your profile and to send you an invitation to connect. So I'm just going to talk now a bit about the wording that he's actually used in that. So the first thing that he said is that he works for Be Live as a content creator and ambassador, which is fine, but thinking a bit further ahead, when Stephen engages on somebody's post, so when he comments on their post, so if you have a little think to when you comment on someone's post, they will see his picture, and then what they will see is the first sort of 50 characters, which will be Stephen works for Be Live. Well, that's not really going to entice them unless they particularly are interested in Be Live or know what it is. It's not going to particularly entice them to connect with him or to click on his profile and see more. So the way that I always suggest when I'm training people or optimizing their profiles is that you start the headline with the result that someone is going to get from working with you. So I'm just going to click over to my profile just so that you can see what I mean in action. So when I comment on a post, the first thing that people see is the result they get from working with me. So there's other ways that you can do it, but that's my suggestion. I think it works the best because immediately people think, I'm interested in, how she can increase my visibility or increase my revenue.
But Melanie, you said you would recommend writing in the first person, and I notice your profile doesn't start with the first person.
No, but it starts with a statement. I write always in the first person. If you go down here because I'm not writing like she, I'm not writing in the third person. I'm just writing it as a statement of what I do. But here it's all written in the first person, you see.
Yeah, in the about section, but not
in the about section. It's in the first person, but I haven't written sort of like she accelerates the visibility. It's just written as a statement. That's the result. So
what about Russ Johns? What does?
Okay, so I was going to do this separately. So if we go over to Russ's, that's fine. So his is very short and sweet. He's written just live streaming strategy and production. Now, I would suggest that that's expanded upon. You've got 220 characters to use in your headline. So there's many ways in which you can use those sort of strategically. So I would really say, Russ could say, who does he work with? So what sort of people is he looking to engage with? What's his ideal client? Who would benefit most from working with him? Is it an individual? Is it a multinational corporation? Is he looking to work with female? Some people only want to work with female founders, or everyone has their own niche, and it usually works better to actually niche down than try and be all things to all people. So because the idea is then if you do send an invitation to connect, it's going to resonate better if you've targeted the invitation to connect and it resonates with what's in your headline, with who you work with and and the area that you specialize in. They're more likely to connect because they're going to feel that you specialize in their sort of people. So and also he could include he could include either a website address or a telephone number, or it could be an address of a lead magnet. That's something that people might want to download, so like a tip sheet. And it's not hyperlinked, but putting that in, people can just copy and paste it into a new tab, which people do. I would normally suggest just putting a web address in there. And as I said, anything that if you've achieved any awards, so you can see I've sort of pretty much maxed out mine, because, and you can see I've used all the keywords that I want to be found for. And that's really what you need to think about when you structure your headline. So we can go on to Steve. So he has used, he's used the word content creator, which he obviously wants to be found for, and live video broadcasts. But he could probably go a bit further than that and mention the training, which is in here, but not in here. So you want to think about things that people would put into the search bar, because that's how you're going to be found. So for me, like I'm actually often found because people have searched for the term lawyer. You can see, how you've been found, and one of the things I'm found for is lawyer. What that means is then that I get my ideal client looking at my profile. So even though I'm not practicing, that doesn't matter. So you always need to think about who you want to see your profile. Here, like business owners, I've said directly, they're the sort of that, I work very, I do a lot of work with business owners. And then you put in other things which basically give you credibility that people will want to work with you. So my training scheme is CPD accredited, any awards. And you can also use the sections obviously at the bottom of your profile where you can add awards, add publications, but people have got to scroll down, and they've got to have been that interested that they're going to go to the bottom of your profile. So this is really your showcase here.
What about the headshot? Isn't the potential for video behind that? And have you and the other two got video behind?
Yeah, so Russ, if I click on Russ has got, here we go. So you can see this is called.
Hey, thank you for stopping by on the Pirate Broadcast. I'm Russ Johnson.
Right, I'll just give you a little clip so you can see. So what you can do, I'm just trying to get back. Wait, let me get back.
Go back to the other screen.
Yeah.
Other tab, third tab.
No, that's right. I'm just trying to go back to Russ's profile. So what? Oh, seems to have gone back too far. It's like crashed. I don't know what it seems to have gone back. Okay. So I'll have to show you using.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, we'll go back to Russell. So basically here, where there's a profile picture, LinkedIn rolled out, it's called a cover story. So you can actually edit a profile and add a video up to 30, I think at the moment, it's 50 seconds actually. onto your profile, and that gives people a little introduction to what you sound like. It makes you more personable. I would suggest doing that. You can just upload them from the mobile app, so you can actually add it on the mobile app from your mobile phone. So I would suggest doing that. You can add also the circles that say either you're hiring or you're open to work, if in fact you are. You will see here, I'm just going to go down here first. I'm going to go back to the hashtags, but first I'm just going to go down here because we're talking about the circles where you can say that you're open to work. Another thing that you can do, which we can see that Stephen has done here, is to add a services page. And I'm going to go back to mine just because then I can actually show you what it looks like. So a services page, people always, sometimes they get these muddled up between this and a company page. It's totally different. So because this is your own personal services page, and this tells you, so you can choose up to 10 subjects that people subjects or topics or services that people can find you for. And then you've got 500 characters where you can talk a bit more about what you do as a person. So not what your company does, but a bit more about you. So I can speak about client care, etc. And then you can work your way down, say where you're located, if you're available to work remotely. But what's really key is that you can actually add reviews. So people here, you can ask your clients or previous clients to leave you a review. So it's become a bit like Trustpilot for LinkedIn.
So is it normal to ask people for a review, or can people supply a review without being asked?
You have to ask people. So normally what would happen is people can add a recommendation, but you have to ask for a review. So here you can see there's a request tab where you can press on the requests, and you can ask people to review, and people can leave a request if they want your services. But although most people have added it as a page, most people that I speak to have never actually asked anybody to leave a review on it, but it's useful. And what I often do is I can share the page. So if I just press share in a message, I can share the link in an email or to a prospective client somewhere else and say, hey, look, this is what, clients have said about me. Yeah. So I use it that way. You can use the link elsewhere. You don't have to keep the link to LinkedIn. So I'm just going to go back. And I'm going to go back now to Stephen's, because I really want to talk about the hashtags, because hashtags are key on LinkedIn. So, they have to be hashtags or to be optimal. They should be hashtags that have got followers. If you post something, whether it's a post or whether it's in your LinkedIn profile, and no one is following that hashtag, it's not going to do a lot for your profile. It's not going to be of much value. And the point is, you always want to think about adding value and creating value. So when we look at this, I looked at this before. And so, for example, where we've got live video streaming, that's only actually got, it's got 118 followers, or it did yesterday, on LinkedIn. So it's there or thereabouts. Whereas if you use just video, that's got like 59,000 followers. So anybody who types in video, you're more likely, your profile is more likely to be shown to them. So that's one of the ways that you're able to get further up these indexes for searching. Is by using hashtags. I mean, and it does work. I mean, I actually had absolutely, like, the truth, a couple of weeks ago, someone reached out to me, and I always ask people when I go on, when they book a call in my diary, and I always say to them, how, out of interest, if we're not already connected, how did you find me? And this person actually said, I found you by the hashtags. So for me, that says it all. It's absolutely worth adding ones which are followed by people. So I'm sure that, you know, there are, well, LinkedIn Live is a good one, because that's actually got 25,000 followers. I mean, anybody wants a guide to hashtags and list of them can.
So basically, if you've got the hashtag listed and somebody is looking for it, it may promote your visibility of your profile to
exactly
your network.
LinkedIn. Yeah, exactly. LinkedIn are likely to show it. They won't show it to everybody, but they will. But it definitely pushes. It definitely works because it's tried and tested. So
just aware of the time, Melanie. So maybe we can go on to another topic.
Yeah, sure. So what stands out to me is where it says live video training is this grey box next to it. The reason that grey box is there is because if we scroll down to Stephen's experience section, so this is his current role. He's actually got 2 current roles, but neither of them have a company page associated with them. So there's often two reasons for this. Firstly, somebody maybe hasn't linked their company page with their profile. So it's important that when you edit your profile, that in the drop down box. So if I go back to my profile, I just want to show people so they can actually see how to do it in action. If I go down to my profile, to the experience section, if I wanted to add a new experience, and so this is the way that you get a logo to come up. So assuming there is a company page somewhere on LinkedIn.
Yeah, but the problem is this is Amazon. So you don't work for Amazon, but you're an Amazon influencer on Amazon Live. So how do you cater for that?
Right. So I would firstly, if Amazon don't have what's called a showcase page, they often have, I'm quite surprised, they usually have, especially the large companies like Microsoft do, they have what's called showcase pages, which are sort of subsets of the company page for different services. And then you can link your profile to that. If there is no showcase page to link to, I would firstly reach out to Amazon and ask them how they, what they want you to do to use their logo. Otherwise, you can set up, if they approve it, I'm assuming he'd have to get approval, but usually they will let you use their branding assets as long as you're using their branding assets like LinkedIn, to say that, and you can create a company page called Amazon Live Influencer and Insider. But you want to have some sort, so the alternative would be to create your own logo and then here call the page Amazon Live Influencer Insider, but put something before it and say, and make that clear that you're not an employee, but start your own company page. The idea is you just want to get rid of this grey box.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and it may be a deficiency from Amazon Live Influencer program, or it may be there, but it's something to investigate. And I guess with the other point, which is Steve's actual company for software development, systems manager, I guess he there doesn't have a LinkedIn company page, because if he did, he would have a logo for the company as well.
Yeah, I mean, logos are so simple to create, and you can use something called Canva, Canva, very, very simple, which is like, it's graphic design software, which basically the layperson can use, or you can go on sort of Upwork or Fiverr and get someone to create one for about $5 for you. Definitely worth having a simple logo, just so it looks much more professional than having this. And just to be aware that this, where you don't always have to put your current role in here. So if you are job seeking, you can use this because this is what recruiters and headhunters, actually, it's one of the areas that they would search. So you can use it to actually put the role that you would like. So say, for example, you were seeking a CEO role, you could allude to that in here. And it means that headhunters you would come up in searches for CEO, for people seeking a CEO. So you can use that also strategically, your current position. I just want to talk briefly about the About section, because it's here that you can talk obviously in more detail about what you do. I would always suggest putting your contact details in here. Yes, I know that you can scroll up here and press on the contact info tab, but it's so much easier when people are just reading your profile, they scroll down and they see an email address or a telephone number in there. They can literally just pick up the phone or email you. And now in the last few months, if you add these using the mobile, or if you add them here, but if people look at your profile on the mobile app, it's hyperlinked and they can immediately click on it. So it's worth putting your web address in here and your your email address and anything else that you want linked. Put it in here in this About section, which everybody reads. And I just want to say that here, I was talking in the header about about putting how people the result that people get from working with you. And so Steve's gone into quite a lot of detail here in his About section. But I think he could make that he could make more of that in his actual header, rather than leaving it for people to scroll down. So I'm not this bit, sort of, this is perfect for the About section, but he should definitely put this higher up in his profile so people see it earlier on.
Yeah.
So
keep an eye on the time, Melanie.
I know. I've got 3 minutes. So I'm just going to mention the skills. Stephen's got at the top for his top skills, software development. But if he wants to be found for video training and content creation, he should reorder these skills. And I'm just going to go down. So here, where you click on the little pencil on your now you might have a different layout because LinkedIn have rolled out a different layout for some people. But if you go to your skills here, you can actually reorder them and edit them like that by pressing on the pencil icon. And it's important to put those, and you can see where you can change the visibility of them. But it's important to put those skills, there you go, you can reorder. And that's by clicking on the three dots there. But it's important that you put those skills, so you review your profile regularly, so that you have those skills which you want to be found for, because again, they will come up in searches. And it's the same with, you also want to be found on public searches like Google searches, etc. So you want to make sure that those keywords are in your skills, in your About section, and in your headline.
Yeah. Good. There was one other point I thought was really good, which is about also viewed, where you're showing up the competition unnecessarily with a privacy setting. Could you briefly talk about that just before?
Yes, so I'll just talk people through that. So the default setting when you set up a LinkedIn profile that LinkedIn have on your profile is something called people also viewed. If you click on mine, you won't see it. If you click on someone else's, you probably will. What it means is that when you look at their profile, LinkedIn along the right-hand side, I'm sure you'll have seen it a million times, will suggest to you other people who do the same job or the same role as the person that you are looking at. So basically, when someone comes to your profile, LinkedIn is saying, oh, here's 5 other people that might do the job better, so go and look at them first. You don't want that to happen. So what you do is you go into your settings and privacy, and it's, I think, 5 options down, and it says people also viewed, and you have the ability to toggle that little green toggle off. And it's the first thing that I always do when I optimize people's profiles, because the last thing you want to do is to be sending people to your competitors.
Yeah. Okay, Melanie, I know you have a hard break today. We did intend to go longer, but you do have a hard break. So
I do.
I wanted to gratefully thank you for coming on the show and giving us all these words of wisdom. If people want to get in touch with you, we have those on the screen here, but we'll put that in the comments. LinkedIn, Trevisan. Melody runs a private members group for LinkedIn, which is very, very good. I've been in there. And also she has a wonderful page of resources. And we can just show that lots of free things to download. Just go to the Trevisan
Lots of
Social
freebies.
website and you'll get that. And just a reminder that the Step Up to Live show, the normal time is 17:10 European time on Thursday. And next week, guess what? We have Stephen Healy on the show. If he's still agrees to come, he's a prolific streamer. He's run about 3,000 live streams, and we're going to get an insight into how that's been built up. So thank you again, Melanie, for coming into the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Hope I'm invited back.
Yeah. And we'll run the outros and we'll say goodbye. So bye from Alec and bye from...
Bye, everyone.
Okay.